Sticking the phone where? On the charger. Is it a wireless charging device? Those are nice. You get those by your bedside. You go to bed a little intoxicated. You just throw the phone, and then there's a 7% chance that it charges versus a plug, which I'm not doing.
True.
I'm not doing a plug.
I'm not navigating a plug.
I was just talking about intoxication like it's something that I do anymore, but it's not. It's not worth it. I can't recover. I don't enjoy it. Somewhere right on the rise of the buzz, I go, this. Why would I ever stop doing this? And everything else sucks.
You're talking about every other part of the
drinking experience.
Right.
Unless you've paired it nicely.
Yeah.
Pair it with you get a nice cheese.
True.
And a wine. Have you ever heard of cheese and wine, Zivan?
I have heard tell.
Have you ever heard of beer and pretzels, Zivan?
I am less interested in beer and pretzels, to be
Have you ever heard
honest.
of whiskey and amphetamines, Zivan?
Ooh,
right.
closer.
I don't know.
Getting warmer.
I talk a big game, but we know, as we know for the pod,
that's right.
It's nerd time here.
It's so funny that you say it's nerd time, because I was thinking on the way up the hill, we gotta have like a cool snap. Oh, I like the phrase "put your thinking caps on."
Oh yeah,
popped it, but then it immediately was just.
No, that's right. Put on your thinking caps. Did we discuss this already?
Mr. Wizard or something?
What did you picture? When someone says thinking caps, what do you picture?
Oh, like what kind of hat?
Yeah, or is it your physical scalp coming back to your body? Is it like a biological dummy? What do they call those things?
Model?
Yeah, where like it's like the skeleton with just the muscle on it or whatever.
Oh, like Body Worlds?
Yeah. Do you picture Body World?
I did not think of Body Worlds.
Do you picture Mongolian laborers who died in accidents having their bodies what do you call it?
Descalped?
Yeah.
There's degloved.
No, the people who were in Body Works did not consent to their bodies being in the...
Oh.
There's a rumor that they were like laborers
totally
who died in an accident, and they're like, let's put your hand back on, but just for the museum, the touring museum. It's barbaric. Do you picture that kind of thinking? I never did. I was always like a Rube Goldberg of a hat.
Like a baseball hat?
But with like stuff sticking out of it, and a good spring popping out.
If I ever had any doodads on my thinking cap, it was always just a propeller.
A propeller is a great thinking cap, and now there's a name for that, isn't there?
Big doofus.
All right.
Flag. How you know not to talk to that guy? Clothing thing.
Sure.
Actually, I think those are cool.
I thought it was beanie.
Propeller beanie.
A propeller beanie.
I think the word propeller made its way into it, I believe.
Had to. Once you say propeller hat, everyone knew. But how many of those have you seen in real life?
Probably less than 12.
How many of you have you seen on a cartoon? Infinite.
Hundreds. Actually, if you zoom in on every frame of every cartoon, it's actually just red, green, and blue propeller beanies.
I like that. That's the mosaic of our
That's
lives.
right. That's that scene from... you know what I was trying to remember the other day? You know that scene in Ferris Bueller's Day Off?
With
Cameron?
Ben Stein,
yeah.
And he says Bueller.
Well, duh. But...
No, I don't. I actually don't remember the movie.
Well, when they go to the... not the universe.
He stares at the museum.
He looks at the
picture.
painting. Yeah, the
Seurat.
pointillism.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that how you say it? Gosh. Oh, backing off of a pronunciation does not follow with the theme of this podcast.
You got to double down. Is that the name of the not the author, the painter?
Yes.
Seurat?
Yes, S-E, I think.
Like West Side Story?
I think.
Seurat.
Very great painting in the Chicago, whatever they call that museum in Chicago.
Yeah.
Fine art museum.
I was trying to remember what the name of that, because there's a piece that plays when he's looking at it, and it cuts from him to the piece, well, him to the painting, him painting, and it like zooms in on both of them. But there's like a song that's like playing. It's like da 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 da. It's very operatic. Anyways, I was trying to remember that the other day.
A Sunday afternoon
on
the island.
That's right. With
of
those-
La Granja.
Correct.
That's such a cool painting.
It's a really nice one.
And in that room, if
It's
you
huge.
It's huge.
It's very
and
big.
then if you're facing it, if the room's still set up the same way, and you turn to your right, there's like if I remember, a wall there that has another painting on it that is this couple walking through like a cobblestone road,
Mm-hmm.
and it's raining, and you can see like the water reflecting in the
Like the
cobblestone.
dappling.
It's that's my favorite painting. Everyone's Ferris Buellering over there, and I'm looking at this old guy with an umbrella. I guess there's an umbrella theme in that room now that I think about it.
Yeah, well, people always had. People should. Well, the parasols are in the first one.
Thank you.
A day at the.
I call them all umbrellas, but parasol is correct.
Yeah, let's be a little bit more precise with our language.
Yes.
Have you ever owned a parasol? I don't think you
No.
ever would need.
No.
Well, no, you could use one.
You could. We go to the beach every once in a while, and you go, it'd be nice to be somebody in a full suit right now.
Right.
If I could wear a suit if I could cover my head right now, I could handle it.
Yeah.
How about the bum on that lady? You know what I'm talking about?
Yep. on the Syrah lady.
Yeah. Oh man, she is packing.
Yep, that is true.
That's what he was going for. That's the whole point of it. What do you think Ferris was looking at?
Cameron, was he looking at her butt?
Wait, is it Cameron who stares at it?
It's Cameron.
Oh,
yeah.
it's not Ferris Bueller.
Because he
himself.
gets Ferris is like running around with not
yes,
Winona
yes.
Ryder, but whoever that is.
Ashley Judd.
Yes. Wait, it's not Ashley Judd. Don't you try to slip one past me like that.
Sarah Jessica Parker.
It is definitely not her either. But they're running around doing stuff, and then Cameron kind of gets like sidetracked, and that's when he has his little whatever.
his moment.
His little religious. Have you ever had a Cameron moment looking at a painting?
I like art. I do. You know what? I was in Dublin, and I saw there was this. It's another lady in the rain. Now that I think about it, maybe had an umbrella, maybe didn't. But it was. I couldn't even tell you who it is. I don't even want to go down the road. I stared at it longer than I should have. I liked it a lot, and it's cool when a painting can not be a painting. Like, paintings are boring. Art museums.
Yeah, I like logos for trucks.
Exactly.
Those are my favorite pieces.
Sometimes you go into that museum and you go, I want to understand. I want to get it. I want to know.
Mm-hmm. You want to believe.
I want to
X-Files.
believe. And now all of a sudden you see something and it jumps at you and you go, oh, I don't even have to choose to like this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. When you don't have to like pretend or put
Yeah.
on a. Yeah. I'm thinking of if there were any things that I had. I want to say recently I had like a. Sometimes I'll look at a mural and be very moved.
Street art?
I love street art. I really love street art. Graffiti, and not just graffiti like this was meant to look cool. Also just like graffiti. Like I don't know. For me, whenever I look at like a train and it's going by and there's all that graffiti on it,
Oh, yeah.
it feels like a horizontal version of those ice cores that they put in the Arctic to kind of see
Sure.
How the history of the planet. That to me is like an
urban ice core.
it's like an urban ice core because it passes through and people leave a little bit, and then it kind of builds up and.
It's a real potluck of art.
It is. It's cool.
You get a real mix, and the more someone sucks at it, you go, I kind of like that they still felt the urge to put that
do
on there.
something. Honestly, I think it's a very recent thing in whatever human history that people have this notion of like you have to be good at something to do it publicly.
Oh,
Like
heavy topic. All right.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
I'm thinking of like cave paintings, right? Like, I mean, I don't think they had any notion of, well, they probably did. I don't know. I'm probably saying too much for these like ancient people, but I don't think they would have any feeling of like, oh no, Doug he's our painter guy.
Yeah. You do it because you have an urge to do it.
Yeah,
You don't do it for the approval of others.
exactly.
And we are in a very approval of others time.
Mm-hmm.
But we are also being given free creative access to the tools is greater than ever.
Walking away from the.
He's coming.
Okay. Is it still recording? Yeah. Okay, we're good. We're 10 minutes in. I mean, so yeah, it's funny that right as I was saying what I was saying, I kind of thought, well, I mean, people might think otherwise because, like, yeah, you have, like, super free, generative, super easy to use tools, and everybody can, like, just immediately fire up something. But to that end, I think really what I mean is the sense of approval, like the sense of, because even when people have this free reign of whatever artistic expression, there's still this like big prize that everyone's going for, which is I want people to like
the
me.
validation.
Yeah, exactly.
To be the person. Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
Versus,
which is gross.
Yeah, I mean,
but it's there.
repugnant, blah blah blah. But I think to that end, what's different is that I think I really am just putting too much on these people. But I think when someone made a really dope pot back in the day, my guess is they probably thought, I want people to think this pot is dope, not I am the dopest pot maker. Do you know what I mean?
Sure.
I think there's more of a sense of like
they've separated the art from the artist.
Yeah, and then we've forgotten.
And now we can't watch Weinstein movies anymore. Unbelievable.
I love Harry Potter. What, I can't just, I just can't like magic.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm saying Weinstein would have flourished in the Paleolithic.
Here's yes. And that behavior.
Actually,
probably got a little more.
No, honestly, he would.
Anyhow, point is, here's the thing.
He really would have spread his wings.
I want to give the caveman artistic integrity. I want to endow him with that and assume the best in that pure creative heart of the caveman or woman. But our problems, I think. Not that we're smarter than previous generations. That's always a lie of our current generation. Whoever does generation you're in, you think you're smarter than every other generation.
Yeah, that's just kind of endemic to people.
But I think that so much of our problem comes from tribalism that is just built into how humans had to survive. And they were the OGs of tribalism.
Oh yeah, I mean they were a tribe of lisms.
And so if they're like, how do I survive in the tribe? Well, I can't hunt and I can't really fight. Maybe I'll get good at pottery. Hey, check out this pot that I made. And now you're no longer making it for the sake of art. You're making it so that
people won't
the hunter will share food with you.
Oh, you know what? And also, there's also this element of like, well, because then it does go back to you, right? Because you make the pot and eventually like, oh, it seems like 10 good things come out of that guy's hut. Who lives there? Like who is that? Get me that guy. Who is that guy? And then he's like, "Oh, I'm just a humble, I'm pot of the Pot Valley." And they're like, "Well, we need you to, we've got a ceremony coming up, and this other tribe that's coming we need to like really make an impression." And I was thinking, wouldn't it be really cool for like my son's bachelor party if like a neo-hominid stripper came out of a pot, in the middle of the party, and he's like, "Oh, say no more. I've been working on," and then this is like David Blaine's ancestor.
But now, wait, I think the other element here is you have to make it about you. Because if you aren't the source of the pot, if it's like, hey, this guy's got a tree in the back that when he eats chews on the leaves from that tree, then he's inspired and makes this pot, then they'll just kill you and take your tree.
Yeah, there has to be something like, no, it has to be me attached to this.
That's what I think.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, but also like,
so it's their fault.
Well,
we are more evolved.
I wonder, you know what? I feel like this was probably like a quantum leap in leadership where basically, so you're a leader, right?
I am a leader.
Right. Yes, you're a leader of men. We have said this. This has been said.
I set budgets and goals.
That's right.
And I drive people toward excellence.
Do you know what a Gantt charts? You know about all those?
Do I know Gantt
Woo!
charts?
Oh man,
I don't make the Gantt charts. People make the Gantt charts for me.
Correct.
Put that on the Gantt.
That on the Gantt.
Update that.
Up the Gantt.
up the Gant.
Pump up the Gant.
And I
Pump
want it every
up.
Monday morning on my desk before my coffee.
Before your stand-up meeting.
Yeah, we always have stand-up
Or a
meetings.
weekly stand-up.
Oh, yes, stand-up, sit-down. And we we don't call them powwows anymore. That's really what happened.
Oh, yeah.
We stopped calling them powwows because that was offensive to dogs. And and we've changed deeply to the point where now all I care about is 2 T's in Gant.
Mm-hmm.
And Gaunt, actually, if we're going to keep it French around
Gaunt.
here. It's got to be.
Very important. I think what was probably a big jump in leadership was like what you just said, the whole like I have a magic tree in the back, and whenever I eat it, I get inspired, but then why don't we just kill you and take the tree?
Yeah.
I think there was probably a break from like okay tribe leaders to like really cool tribe leaders where they realized that like, oh, if we actually just keep these people alive, they're actually able to like retain that information and then build on it and then also teach other people.
Yeah.
Like it's like they're to be able to think of like a resource is kind of a human thing. Like I need that rock, but then to like abstract it to I need people who do rocks. And then to think, wait, hold on. Not only do I need people who do rocks, I also need people who can identify. I need like headhunter, like rock headhunter people who can be like, I don't know much about rocks.
But I know when someone knows rocks.
But I know when someone knows rocks.
Yeah.
Like when somebody basically was like the first middle manager.
Yes.
I guess.
Yes.
That was like a, like there's like some guy in China who was just like, wait, hold on. There's people who can farm rice. Certainly. There's people who know how to draw squares.
Right.
There's got to be a way to.
Yeah.
Oh, God. Oh, I'm so close. I know what. There it is. Okay, got it. And then somebody to write all this shit down.
And they're like, what do you actually do here? And
when someone asks that question, that's how you know you live in like a space age society.
Yeah.
When someone can ask, what is it that
So
you
what is
do?
I've gone full hopeful and cynical on leadership, that the point of leadership is that it's so much decision making in your life that I just want someone to tell me what to do sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
Like, don't make me figure out what direction to go in. It's anxious.
It's anxiety provoking.
Yeah, and so just if someone just tells me what to do, good. And then the flip side is I hate when a leader's just like, no, this is what we're doing. I know everything, because that's so dumb.
Yeah.
But also, that's the only way to do that job.
Kind
You do
of.
have to just tell. I do just want to know.
Yeah.
Just tell me which sides to pick. Don't tell me your thought process.
Yeah.
Don't waffle on me.
Nope.
Just tell me the thing to do. And it's I'm finding that with as a parent. Yeah, I'm telling my kids, like, here's what we're gonna do. Now here's a story from when I was 5, and then here's a philosophical point, and here's the gray area. And by the time I get through all that, my 7-year-old's staring at me like,
What's
Can
going
you
on?
just tell me what to do? This is what'd you call it? Anxiety provoking? It's anxiety provoking.
Mm-hmm.
So just,
I also think I think that there's like a degree of this is going to be like a mouthful, like subliminal autonomy that is being given a person when they are led very directly, because basically.
So hold on, I'm still on subliminal.
Yeah, it's word vomit. But what I mean is like, well, what I really think is this is more pertinent probably with child rearing, which is to say, if you make a decision as a parent,
Yeah.
and it's very direct,
Yeah.
you teach your kid that they should like listen to you, which is fine. But also what you're ultimately doing is you're teaching them decisions can be made decisively, and they can also be made in the span of like 5 seconds, and they can be kind of reliable.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like the human brain is capable of making that kind of choice pretty, stably. You know what I'm saying?
I think so. I think there's an element of I want to be able to make my own decisions, right? That's every human thinks they want freedom. But I think really all we want is we want to make the decisions that are easy to make, or that I enjoy making. Those two types of decisions.
Correct.
I guess. We don't want to make hard decisions.
And we don't want to make all of them.
And I don't want to make all the decisions.
Yeah.
And then that element of you only have so many decisions in a day, or that idea of that.
The whole like president puts on the same clothes every day, so he has one less thing to decide.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's why billionaires wear the blah blah blah.
That's why
same thing.
Villains have an outfit.
True.
Just like the superhero. Yep. And then, ooh, that was a good crack. And then
If we got that on,
could
you hear it through the?
I had to have.
Well, then
That was a wise
definitely-
decision. Yeah. What you were just getting at of being decisive. That's if there's a group of overthinkers, that I think you're in the room with us, and it's debilitating. And it's then once you do make that decision after you've overthought it, it still doesn't feel good. It feels worse because you're like, I've really considered all the alternatives.
Yeah, that's very true. Have we talked about chess at all?
Never.
We had to have.
I would have walked out of the room if we started talking about chess.
Well, I don't want to walk you now, but also cool sticker on your.
The wave.
Yeah,
Thanks.
That's a dope. Good setup. I like
It
a good
matches
sticker.
the color, doesn't it?
It does. You kind of nailed it.
We can put that on the Patreon.
I'll take a good picture. If you subscribe to the Patreon, you get a picture of one object on that episode's desk.
That's the whole Patreon. They're like, what is this for? You're like, check episode 5. Timestamp.
It's behind a paywall.
15 minutes. Yeah.
Well, to the overthinking thing, so there was a chess player called Josh Waitzkin. Did you ever watch that movie?
Nope.
You never saw
The Queen's Gambit?
Yes. Well,
Searching for Bobby Fischer?
Yes, exactly.
No.
Damn
I
it.
don't watch chess movies.
Well,
and I know which ones you're talking about.
Damn it. Okay. Well, actually, to that end, this is a little piece of lore. I actually lost my virginity to the first episode of The Queen's Gambit.
That could be something I don't need to know.
Well, now you do.
Now I'm definitely watching The Queen's Gambit. Fully aroused. Go ahead, Zivan.
Well, it's a pretty, it's a sultry, it's a smoky movie.
Is it really?
Or show, I should say. Yeah, it's got.
It's supposed to be hot.
Well, it's about chess. How else are they going to make it kind of popular? Like, think about it for 5 seconds.
Oh, gosh, I can't.
I mean,
what's wrong with our culture? Can't you just tell a story about chess?
Because chess is really boring.
Yeah, I know. And then here we go. So continue your story about chess.
Right. So basically, there was this kid named Josh Waitzkin. He's a child prodigy. But his teacher, Bob Paolini, I think, basically taught him backwards. So most people, when they learn chess, and also in chess schools they teach you this, they start with the opening, right? They start with like a bunch of different openings. That's where you get like, this is the Sicilian, this is the French, switchback, this is the, Montana batter dip or whatever. And so the idea is everybody coming into a chess game probably knows 200 openings just right off. That's the basics. And what he did was he actually started with the end game. So the end game, of course, is when there's like 3 pieces on the board. And it's actually, even though it's simpler, it's much more complicated because you have to be able to sort of calculate even more steps ahead because even like the tiniest misstep, eventually you'll lose your piece and you'll lose your advantage and you'll be checkmated. So he started with that. So he started with the end game.
Okay.
And the idea was, and then he moved from the end game to the mid game, which is even more, in some ways, more complicated because there's more pieces, but they're in weird positions and it's hard to get. Basically, the idea was Josh, whenever he was playing, I'll get to the point. Josh, whenever he was playing, would try to take the game from this really nice and neat opening to like a really messy mid game, like really weird positioning, really strange form. And that's where he really thrived because basically, if you can create order out of chaos, then chaos is no longer very scary. And so that's what if you could just get to the messiest possible situation and trust that you'll be able to navigate it, Bob's your uncle.
Begin with the end in mind.
Yeah, which is why I don't ever plan anything in my life is in shambles all the time.
Well, chess. You ever watch those like reels on whatever Instagram or the
about
the
chess,
TikTok, where it's like a chess expert will go sit down with one of the chess hustlers.
Oh
in,
yeah,
like, New York or whatever, and they will. I'll try to watch that, and it's not. I can't. It's not satisfying at the end, even though it's like, oh, they got him, they got that cocky guy, and they showed him, and then he got angry, and like clearly you found a person with a mental disorder on the street.
If it still feels like bullying.
It still feels like bullying, even though their
Yeah.
job is to hustle people all day. It's like this guy doesn't look like he's
Let him
slept
have this.
in a warm bed in a while.
Let him have this.
Jeez, oh man. And some girl in a dress comes and beats him in chest.
Yeah, with like nice cameras and a nice outfit. And
yeah, let me set up my tripod.
While I whoop you
and the
publicly.
ring light.
Those guys are interesting though. Those hustlers. I wish that because there's busking, right? That's basically like chess busking.
Yeah.
I wish there was like that dynamic with other art forms. Like, wouldn't it be crazy? Okay, here's the thing. Wouldn't it be crazy if we lived in a society where we all played the violin pretty okay? Like, it was just a given. Like, oh, yeah, I took 5 years of violin. Like, that's just, the same way everyone can kind of speak Spanish. What if there were people on the street who were like, we're going to play a duet right now. We're going to do like you know what I mean? Like battle busking versus just I'm just playing a piece. Chess, of course, you have to play because it's a 2-person thing. But what if, you know what I mean? Like a rap battle.
What if the solo busking arts were turned into battles?
Like more adversarial, like if you want to, yeah.
Then it's what
if
which statue person blinks first?
Yeah. That's actually, I'll put some silver on you. You maintain this position, and whoever blinks first, I don't know, whatever, gets $1.
Do those people die of respiratory ailments like the Tin Man did in the Wizard of Oz? Is that a dangerous?
I think they probably updated that. I know what you're talking about, though.
Is it like soak into your skin and kill you?
Yeah, because they actually used like real silver, like
Is
it
that
was.
what it was? Yeah.
And I think it discolored his skin to be blue for a really long time.
Oh, that's great.
Which is
for a movie.
Yeah, well,
Hey, we're dying in here for a podcast, but that's okay. Same thing. Same level of work of art and same risk.
Sacrifice.
Yeah. My brother-in-law does math. He's a math professor, and he's done at like school events and things. Street math, I think they call it. And like where where if you know enough of the math, it can be like a math magic trick.
Right. Yeah.
And he'll be like, "Here, bring me this number, that number, that," and I don't even remember exactly how he worked it out, but he's like, "I can do this, that, and then tell you the answer," and it's like math magic.
Those are cool.
I can appreciate that kind of vibe.
I think they're kind of. I mean, I think honestly, I'm always really impressed by people who are able to. So there's like, how do you make something easy for someone to explain? Right? Like, how do I explain trigonometry to like a 5-year-old, right? That's like a cool thing. But what's really cool to me is when you can make a really complicated thing not only simple but also like competitive for a non-expert. Does that make sense?
Yeah, exactly.
Like if you can like figure out a way to like even the playing field where like I might not actually still come out on top even though I'm like the whatever, chess player or Go player or mathematician or whatever.
That's speaking of nerds, that's the problem with board games.
Mm-hmm.
You get such cool board games, and there's so many cool layers to it, but you got to play 20 times to be any good at it.
To be in any way competitive.
Yeah.
That's my issue with chess. Well, we can hop off chess in a second, but that is my issue with chess is that
that's my issue with that. That could be how we started.
That's my issue with this is okay. That's my issue with chess is that you have to like, oh, I didn't have 15 extra hours to play this game with you on an even playing field. Like, that's so lame.
Right.
Everything should be democratic in that sense. You should just be able to pick it up, now it's a battle of wits.
Have you ever seen Smes?
Why does that sound so familiar?
It was a game, we had it in 5th grade. The 5th grade teacher had it in her room, and she was like a fun... hip lady, had like would wear a vest and a tie.
Ooh.
And like
Jackie Cation or Hannah Gatsby.
And she would always like show everyone a Far Side cartoon before class. Like she was the cool alt teacher. And so she had the board game Smash, which looks vintage 70s, and it's I think it was. I'm not saying that it was called Chess for Dumb People, but
that's how it was sold.
Maybe that might not be their official tagline, I would hate to have the Smess people come after me, but
They'll get you.
all the
You
players.
see what they did to Rogan.
So that the way Smess works is
That's what we'll start.
the board has arrows on it, and whatever it's like a chessboard, but wherever you are,
That's what
you have to take.
That looks
ivermectin.
Babylonian.
It's ivermectin.
you
It's
have to take ivermectin
no,
to play it.
it's called the Ninny's chess,
Ninny's chess.
and so yeah, you can move to a space, but you can only go where so any piece could be a whatever until it's just got to have the arrows.
That looks like something you'd find in like a Sumerian temple, like sticking out, like a bathhouse.
Sure. Yeah.
Like the tiles.
It does got that almost mosaic kind of look, and yet at the same time, it's very 70s.
Oh, I dig it.
Also, I found the painting. Una Waters was the person, I believe.
Was the person?
Who painted this painting of this woman who's, what do you call that? Is that kind of like Cubism, Neo-Gothic?
It does.
If you're at home, UNA space WATTERS.
That does look a little cubist, especially towards like where the water is hitting the tiles, the shapes that's making.
Yeah.
It almost looks kind of like tesseract-y.
I think I'm a sucker for an umbrella in a painting or a parasol.
Yeah, no, I like that. That's actually
that was the last painting I stopped and stared at.
Una Waters. It's called "It's Raining."
No, I think that might be the headline of the article. Is that
an umbrella?
Girl Going by Trinity in the Rain.
Girl Going by Trinity in the Rain. Okay,
I think
Trinity,
because Trinity's a college over there in Dublin. These were Dublin artists. It makes sense. And I just love the I don't know what it's not. We've not gone. It's impressionist in a way where it's not we're not looking at a perfect photograph, but we're highlighting things.
Yeah, like the way that
in the world,
the way that like raindrops cut space.
Yeah.
That's actually, I do like that, and like the curve of her back and
against, and their umbrellas in with the rain. They're in that line, but then she's the curve. I could stare at it for a little bit.
No, it's good.
Then my kids are like, "We want ice cream," and I was like, "All right, let's move on. I can't take this anymore."
Culture is broken.
Youth don't understand art.
My moment. I feel like with paintings, I think that there is this like. I was talking to someone last night, and I said she works in a gallery, and I said, I wish people were encouraged to talk more loudly in a gallery, because I think there's something about
hushed tones.
There's something about when you have to whisper that makes what you are willing to say different.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Sure.
Like it almost feels like it.
Let's try it now. If we're in the gallery and you're saying, "Look at this," I like how they did that.
I see. Me too.
That's all you're gonna get out of
this. Yeah, literally. Like that's the extent of the. I like how they was. Or you sound horrible when you go on some long like. Well, what you really have to understand is that during the Spanish Revolution is that there wasn't enough clay. There was no clay left.
Did you say clay or clay?
I said it's clay. You know what? Actually, I'm hungry.
Yeah, let's get lunch.
Yeah, exactly.
I want ice cream.
Yeah, I want ice cream. So if you could just start with, because like there's sometimes, I mean, this is because I'm a child, but sometimes I'll see something and I'm like, wowee. And I wish I could just say that instead of going like, cool.
You ever lean in and just whisper a non sequitur and see how it goes? Like it's really important.
That reminds me of something I was thinking about the other day. I was maybe this. How blue is this podcast? We're
PG, but
that's true. That is true.
Go ahead.
Well, I was thinking, I have never ever been good at dirty talk, but I was thinking,
oh boy,
wouldn't it be funny if I pretended like the other person was like a Russian sleeper agent, and so instead of dirty talk with like oh this and that, if I just said like Barracuda, forgotten shoes. calculator. That's it.
I like it.
That's all there is to that.
I thought you were like interrogating questions or whatever.
Oh well, it's like the Russian sleeper. Like if you say the code phrase, the hypnotic suggestion, it's like the verbal key, and then they have to go kill the president.
Yes.
Which is probably the hottest post-coital activity is assassination.
Wow, yeah, that's a big deal. I mean,
it's like that's a cigarette
energizing
and a half.
Really calms me down. Where were we? We were art, chess, and deep dive into your personal life. Zivan, I want to know what creative outlets have you found fulfilling recently?
Recently?
Anything non-comedy related, or is it still within comedy? And that's great if it's within comedy. What within comedy has felt good?
Oh, I mean, comedy has been the same as it. Not well. I always perceive. I guess I'm lucky that year by year I perceive it as getting better. Like not just me as a performer. Right. Ideally, that's the case, but that's not for me to decide.
The overall experience.
Yeah, like the vibe of it has been increasing and increasing. Layer by layer. So that's been cool. I've been kind of happy about that. But actually. Creatively speaking, I have a friend. His name's Hazard. Well, his given name is Jacob, but his middle name is Hazard. Now he goes by Hazard.
Okay.
So he and I went to CMU together, and we both really like math, like really dig it. But we've been kind of meeting up lately to just like do it for like a couple of hours. Like we'll have a textbook open, and we'll just be proving things and doing problems, but it honestly, like when we get into a rhythm, it takes about 20 minutes to kind of like pick up some speed. It feels like we're playing jazz, to be honest.
Now your Instagram is at Zivan?
Zivan _Vasquez.
And every once in a while I'll see on your reels, almost like daily, maybe every other day, you'll have like a sharing of a math post.
Mm-hmm.
And I've never asked because I've always gone,
why do you do this?
Well, it seems half like there's and of course you have to love math to make those posts, but also, and even to get the jokes, if there is a joke, sometimes there are clear jokes.
There is a joke being told. Yeah.
Yep. And then, but what part of it for you is you going, this is in and of itself silly and fun just to share cool math
with
on
my
the platform that shares, butts.
Just about to say butts. Part of it is like I am aware of how people perceive me as like this sort of like, technical dorky guy, and so part of me is like, let me just give these people what they expect.
Yeah.
But literally it is a very reflexive, like I'll see something and think, oh, that's dope, and I'll just the same way, because I'll also post, like comic book artists. Yeah, or a good clip.
You like,
yeah, so for me it's just like this is a vehicle for me to share. This is what I like / this is what I'm thinking about / this is like maybe to some extent I want to support this person.
Right. Yeah.
So it's always a mixture of those three things. Yeah, but I mean, it's usually genuinely, I thought this was cool. I'd like to share this with people.
Yes. Okay, that makes sense. I'm just making sure too that I'm okay giving the reactions that I do. Sometimes they're claps, sometimes they're hearts, sometimes they're fires, sometimes they're crying, laughing.
No, so, it's all good.
Yeah,
I always appreciate them.
There's always a what's that golden ratio? It always looks like a golden ratio thing coming up, and you're like, and then there's a limit function, and I can't.
There's an F to the G.
There's always
there's always a little underscore, and
sometimes there's a derivative or an integral. But
every now they sneak in.
But
all this to say, me and my friend Hazard, we just kind of, we just crack open. We've usually got like a bunch of paper. We've got a whiteboard, and what's really fun about it is it's not directed. Mm-hmm. It's very like there's people who will get together to work on something because like you and I both need a job, and so we need to practice coding interview problems or whatever. And then there's like a book club, which is like we both have read something beforehand.
Oh, right.
And now we're just talking about it.
Yes.
This is like this kind of third thing, and it's hard to explain to people like why you might do math for fun. But for me, it is very much just like I'm thinking about this, and he's like, well, I'm thinking about this. I'm like, well, let's swap for a second and talk about our own thing, and then maybe is there a way we could draw this? And then we'll say maybe, and then we'll, stumble upon something. And
yeah, and we get into that type of thing with jokes.
It's
right? Where you're like,
exactly the
you're trying
same
to
feeling.
Figure out the thing, and it almost doesn't matter if there's an audience that ever hears the joke.
100%.
It's just fun to.
Well, that's
to
a good.
dig in.
That's a good question. I mean, how much of comedy for you is just it's fun to think about how to move words around?
That's like the basis, I would say.
Right.
That's the foundation of it. Of course, of the art form, but also just in the inspiration for me.
Mm-hmm.
Like I've got a new bit that I just said it on stage once, but it felt good. Was that I started comedy because I started journaling. I was just started journaling, and I'd start writing down things that were funny.
That makes a lot of sense.
And then I started writing down things that were almost embarrassing to have written down, like that time when you die and someone's flipping through this, and if someone was to come across it, and you'd feel mortified, already dead, in fact. But
mortified.
Yeah, but it was that idea that this, I need to put this out as something, because if people find this, it's a manifesto. If they don't, then if I can put it out, it's comedy. So I think that like urge to create, the urge to go, that was funny, I'm going to capture that. I want to remember that weird thing, or why did that bother me? Let me process it, or what was weird about that? Let me dig in and go after it. Ooh, that's a good cup of Joe. A lot of steam, a lot of foam on that, and so I think that's the move, is that you get in, for me at least, but I think others, I don't think I'm unique in that, is that like that urge to create was the foundation, and it's best if you never share it with anybody. But then there's a part of me that's like, well, where's my significance found? How do I inflate my ego? How do I make sure that I'm going to have a mate? And all of these are lies, by the way.
Right.
But they are all profound driving factors.
Oh yeah.
Where's my sense of belonging? Where's the thing that makes me interesting to people
and sets you apart?
Sets me apart. Why am I not like everybody else? I am. Just remember, you're unique, just like everyone else. And it's why am I better than my neighbor?
Correct.
Who's really successful in their job, but it's a job working for someone putting together the Gantt charts.
Yeah, the man.
I don't do Gantt charts. I am an artist.
Right.
And it's all because
my Gantt charts are in acrylic.
my Gantt charts are tight, precise, have a good rhythm.
And got me past
and
the
have
seller.
A twist at the end. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Do they even? That's just it. Like I got this or I got that, and no one even knows or cares. But so there's two pieces to it. Then once you, I think there's that pure creation, that unpure drive to perform and whatever, and then somewhere in the middle, maybe at a peak, you can find a connection with people, bringing laughter into the world, whatever it is.
Disgusting.
Whatever kind of nice thing you're doing by performing and getting people together and having a laugh, and maybe you talk to somebody, like after the show, someone comes up and they go, "I was having a really hard time, and your jokes got me through a lot."
Yeah, like the 4 or 5 times a day that happens.
Exactly.
Yeah.
May I tell you, the only time that it has happened in my life, my buddy, his wife was in Africa. She was doing,
missionary work.
Yeah, she was a doctor type. Well, she was a nutritionist, but she was doing like medical, missionary work.
Gotcha.
She was gone for weeks, and so when she came back, he goes, "I want to have like a big." She goes, because the wife didn't want any big fanfare when she came back.
Right.
And he's like, "Will you come with me to the airport?" I have her. She didn't travel with her wedding ring.
Mm.
You know, you can't trust these people. When you know what I mean. When you travel, whatever, you're worried, and
Yeah,
so
you don't want to lose it.
You don't bring your wedding ring, and so he goes, "I'm going to take that wedding ring and propose to her when she lands." So not did she not want any fanfare. He's like, "I'm going to do in the international terminal at Boston's Logan Airport.
Oh my gosh!
I'm going to propose to my wife. I want you there to play piano and just play a song that was our first dance or whatever, and I'll bring flowers and the thing, and I'll propose to her."
Oh, Christ.
They've been married. This is like 5 years into their marriage.
5 years into?
Yeah. And so we do this.
Mm-hmm.
The song was "I Want to Know What Love Is." That was not their first dance. I made the decision.
Embellishment.
Yeah, I overrode and said, like, we have to do the cheesiest song I can think of. And it wasn't the whole song. I just leading up into the chorus, and then we hit the chorus and blasted in the international terminal. People, imagine like being a college student that's going to go to BU, and you're from, name a country, and you show up to the United States for the first time, and this is what's going on in America.
Welcome.
And so he gets down on one knee, and she's like, "Can we just go home? I just got off the airplane. I'm not, she's not done up or whatever, and all that stuff." And she's like, "And why is Chris here?" And then we get up. He gives her the flowers. We pack. I grab the suitcase. He grabs the suitcase. We were walking out, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And this lady came up to us,
mm-hmm.
and she goes, "My friend, we just had to fly back from her mother's funeral, and this is the first time I've seen her smile in 2 weeks."
Wow.
And I was like, "That's not what we were going for." This wasn't for her.
Yes.
All right, this was to embarrass this other lady. What are you doing?
Tell your greedy friend, maybe not everything's about you and your dumb mom.
That's right. That's the only time someone's ever said, "Your art has gotten me through something." I was like, "Oh, I wasn't even trying." So maybe that is the point too.
Inadvertent.
You shouldn't be going for. If you sit down and go, "I'm going to write something that's going to help people through hard times," you've not done it.
Nope.
You won't do it.
Ugh.
You're the caveman making a pot to get attention in the tribe, and the hunter is going to smash it and be like, "Yo, dude,
this is derivative. This is me see what you try do right now.
Why don't you learn how to forage?"
Yeah, dumbass.
And so that's where I'm getting. What was the question?
Well, I think we were. I'm assuming sharing times where we felt like we touched people with our, So I have a friend who I went to high school with. She and I were in orchestra together. We both played the viola, and we got along in high school, and we kept in touch kind of throughout college a little bit. But we message a lot on Instagram. We go back and forth, and she's going to school in France for opera performance. Really, really, really talented person. Shout out Naomi. Very, 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 very talented. Very proud of her. But sometimes I'll make jokes and I'll like reels and whatever. And she responds to all of them. She likes all of them. But the last one I posted was about it's that scat calling joke. It's the I don't cat call. Yeah,
I didn't mean to step on it. I was
No, thank you. I appreciate it. But the very last line, and this is such a throwaway, just like, okay, while we're here, is "that ass is pentatonic."
What about? Can we punch up joke?
Well, let me.
Go ahead.
God damn it.
What about? Don't people say what that ass do? Like what that ass skibbity doo doo do?
What that skibbity? What that ass do? What that ass skibbity beep a doop a doo?
All right, go ahead.
No, that's actually That's actually not a bad note.
No shame in doing it twice.
I appreciate it. But I say at the very end, I say that ass is pentatonic.
Right.
And she, of course, being a musician, is like, oh my gosh, that's hilarious.
Yeah,
And so,
yeah.
not that I wrote that with her in mind, but there is this like good feeling I get of like, oh, this person latches on to like this specific aspect of something and is resonating with that. That's always really cool to me.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I guess maybe the biggest change that I've felt this year with my stand-up or jokes or whatever art is I still want to be huge and amazing and colossal or whatever, but I've kind of decided it would be really cool if like 300,000 people really, really got what I was doing.
Yeah.
Versus like 3 million people are like aware of it. Or like they're okay with it.
And I don't know if we've talked about this. You don't even need that many people.
Mm-hmm.
You need 50 diehard fans in every city that'll come out every time
Correct.
You're in town, and that's it.
Correct.
And you only need it in 30 major
Urban
cities or whatever.
Yeah.
And you can survive, and you're getting the right thing to the right people.
Exactly. Like to me, not the ideal, but like somewhere between like Eddie Pepitone and Dimitri Martin. That's kind of like
Now, if they were in the room right now, they'd be like, "What do you think I'm not big enough?" But I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, because even Dimitri Martin is already like more and more of a household name, like approaching that.
Yeah, he had a TV show.
He had the TV show, and he just sort of has like entered the zeitgeist. But I would also argue that Julio Torres do you know who that is?
Mm-hmm.
He's kind of moving in on that, not turf, but you know what I mean? Like kind
There's
of
a lot of those. Yeah.
Yeah, sort of in that he's like almost like Hispanic Dimitri Martin because they look similar. But there's something about how they interact with don't interact with their fan base that I think is really cool. Like it's
right, that they're not posting 3 reels a week.
No,
and doing the whatever. Yeah,
no.
Yes,
I mean I need to do that now, but that's because I'm nobody. But for me,
you're somebody already, Zivan.
Well, I'm somebody to some people.
You need to be somebody to everybody, but not everybody, but everybody who would be a body.
Be a body.
A buddy.
A buddy.
Be a buddy.
Be a buddy and a body.
And to be somebody.
Be a buddy and be somebody.
Buddy.
Sounds like a Janet Jackson song.
I just felt like the 80s was alive.
Yeah. A whole lot more than a little bit and a little bit more than a lot. They were really good at 80s R&B was full of little like Shakespearean little like yeah. It's like
they invented the word eyeball.
That's right. And swagger.
And Boo. Is that when Boo came into existence? Anyhow.
And you always be my boo. Yeah, that's a good one. That's a good.
We might be into the 90s. I'm not sure.
Boo feels. Well, Bo is very old, and Boo, I believe, comes from.
Yes, language of origin.
That's right. Dude, I was thinking the other day how much I would just eat up a spelling bee.
Really?
Oh my God. Yes.
Well, in your against 5th graders or
I mean
against peers?
I'll put on anybody.
Yeah.
In fact, my guess is that it would probably be harder against 5th graders because they really care. Adults, I think, have just like they just
spell check.
They spell check. They're lazy. But you'd go up against like a 6th grader. If I was a 6th grader, I would. When I was a 6th grader, I was very into spelling bees. I thought they were a lot of fun.
All I remember from spelling bees was my friend Sean, smart kid, brilliant kid, top of the class.
Mm-hmm.
This was like 3rd grade, whatever. He said the word was like. Honestly, it wasn't cat, but it was close enough to cat, and it started with a C because they said the word is cat, and he goes cat, and they said cat, and he goes okay, and then
devastating.
It was his like okay was the first letters of his spelling.
No, oh God,
and they're like no, it doesn't start with a K. And he's like, huh? I was saying okay. And they're like, I heard K. And And that was the end of it.
You know that was them trying to take him down a peg, too. You know that's what they were trying to do.
Teachers threatened by smart kids. Zivan, if I had $1 for every time, I would bet that you were threatened by a teacher or that you threatened a teacher's self-esteem with your nerd approach to things.
Yeah, my juvenile brain.
Oh, man. So, wait, would you study for this?
Oh, yeah.
Or do you think, like, cold?
Oh, do you mean right now?
Squid Game spelling
Squid
bee.
Game, like the room flips and there's like machine guns and weird like dolls and stuff.
Yeah, we don't need death and animatronic, but do we?
Don't we?
Do we? Do we? Well, okay. Okay, spelling bee to the death. Would you rather have it happen right now? Do you think, or would you rather have time to study for it?
Well, to the death, time to study for it. But how
but
confident?
Everybody else gets to study, is what I'm saying.
Everyone else. So you
can't spell against the public. You don't. You know when you play golf. You know how you play golf.
Correct.
You don't play your opponent. You play the course. Right.
Yeah.
And in a spelling bee, you don't really play your opponent. You play the dictionary. But right now,
me and Noah.
Right now,
Webster.
I like it. I was more of a Daniel Webster guy, but
Gotcha. Yeah, well.
The time that you are playing against a person, right? You don't have to know. You don't have to be faster than the bear.
You have to be faster than the slowest gazelle. Yeah.
Yeah, that's all I'm getting at.
Correct. Well, really, I was thinking, I'm just surprised people don't do drunk spelling bees. You know what I mean?
It's already done. It's a show called Drunk History.
Yeah. Well, maybe. Okay. So then, how would this work? It would be if you get it wrong, you drink, and but you only get 3 strikes. But then, as the night goes by, okay, here's what it is. Here's how it works. Each round, there's a liquor associated with that round.
Dear.
No, I got this. It's so you just have to hang in for this.
Is this the honors dorm? Is this what you used to do?
I'm plagiarizing some game I used to play. Every round, there's a drink. And so the first round is, we'll say, like an IPA. So you just have to do a swig of an IPA every time. Yeah, a swig. And you get, every round you still get, this is so convoluted, you get 3 strikes.
Sure.
But then they reset every round. But the difference is that each round increases in alcohol content. So by the last round, if you fuck up, you have to drink a shot of Everclear. And then but you still only get 3 strikes. This makes a lot of sense to me.
I got lightheaded just now. Yeah.
I think I could convince 20 frat guys in an engineering dorm to do this.
Yes, you could.
This would be...
Speaking of which, did we officially have Alyssa on, or did we just talk about having Alyssa on?
I believe she was on at some point.
On, right? Alyssa has told me about the PowerPoint parties that she
does.
Yeah,
she's mentioned these to me.
That can be for her to discuss on another ep. But the idea of adult socializing via
child game thing,
childish versions of serious games, like 2 friends getting together and doing math problems, or like a group of friends getting together and presenting on a topic,
PowerPoint,
or like, I don't know if your drinking spelling bee is going to make the cut, but or things like that is not a bad way to do things.
Yeah, like having like a competitive, Twister is one thing, but because I think that's what board games are trying to do. But I think board games, there is something very repugnant to me to how board games are done nowadays. And I can't quite put my finger on it. I don't know what it is about the way board games are done that I just really dislike. I don't know if this was the thing when you were in college, but board games are very huge now. And it's always first of all, the game, when you look at the price tag, is like, you didn't need to do all that.
Intellectual property.
Yeah, this is like $95. What are we doing? But then also, it's like, and this is so common, criticism, but it's like you have to read a book.
Right.
You've got to read the manual 5 times, and you also still have to consult it. And everyone has to be listening really, really hard in order to be able to play this thing.
Yeah.
And then ultimately the person who suggested it is frustrated because no one else can keep up with them.
Right.
There's 2 diehards who can keep up with them. So really it's a 3-person game, even though the box says 15 to 30 people.
Right.
And then there's like 20 people who are like, I mean, I'll do this because I'm going out with this guy, or because I like the chips that you've got or something. But this is otherwise a very, very boring experience.
Yeah, we might as well join a kickball league.
Literally.
Yeah.
So there's something about board games that have just been like bastardized, where we had D&D, we had chess, we had Parcheesi, and then somewhere there was like this nuclear spill that just mutated them.
Maybe in the name of making them better too, right?
Oh,
Like
100%.
the idea of I remember reading, right, that Monopoly, the point of Monopoly was to like bludgeon someone to death. And like when they invented a collaborative board game, it was, oh my goodness, or it's, or maybe whatever they call it, the semi-competitive collaborative or something.
Oh yeah, where like you're not playing each other, you're trying to like like co-op games.
Any of that kind of stuff. And now,
well, you know what?
It just overswung. Is that what's happened?
I would be willing to bet that it is probably people trying to make video games in an analog format.
Ooh.
I think, to me, because a lot of it, basically, here's how you know you've made a really bad board game. If at any point I think to myself, gee, I wish I had like a computer to keep track of, you have messed up. The moment I have that thought of like, oh, it'd be great if there was some sort of automated system to like keep track of all these resources, boop, you messed up, because now what you did now is you just made a really, really bad video game made out of cardboard, which is twice as expensive.
Yeah.
What are we doing?
Can't even find it at Target.
Can't even find it at Target.
You got to go to the special game store.
Yeah, you have to enter
online, whatever. Well, we don't play board games. We play matching.
Matching is good.
Now, how about that? That's actually a game that just that, like you're saying, that's the one that we've gravitated toward with our kids.
Mm-hmm.
Is they have a lot of like physical ones where it's like you have to stack pancakes. Have you seen this one?
No, but it sounds cool.
And they're like more balance and hand-eye coordination kind of things.
Mm-hmm.
But matching is like constantly stimulating.
Mm-hmm.
You're always looking at that thing going, where is Olaf? Because we do Disney matching. And and then also you can dumb luck a little bit into it, but it's not, you can't win on dumb luck, but you can get an edge on dumb luck. So everyone still feels fine.
Yeah.
And then and once the kids hit like 5, they are competitive at it.
Mm-hmm.
Like they've got you just got to teach them strategy of like, don't start with one that you already know what it is.
Mm-hmm.
Blah, 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 blah.
Mm-hmm.
That I enjoy is like, it's a simple game.
Mm-hmm.
Whoever's stack is bigger at the end.
Boom.
Which is life. Is that not life?
Who's got the most pancakes?
And that's it. And
then there's tribes of people who have waffles, and it's like, what's the conversion rate?
How do I trade to the waffle people?
That's the eternal question.
I need 2 Olafs and a Pumbaa.
I think there has probably been a renaissance in. Someone was telling me that there was like we were talking about like what's a good toy, and one person was talking about was like, there's this, not this new thing, but whatever. There's this toy that they saw where it's literally just like a TV remote, and it's just like a fidget. It's just like a do do do. And one of them was basically saying that that's an annoying toy because it basically restricts the number of things that basically what makes a toy cool is this is a thing, but also like a person can embellish what it is.
Yeah.
And for me, the best version of that was like, I didn't really buy toys as a kid. My mom gave me like a pocket knife and some duct tape.
Mm-hmm.
So like the forest was my toy. You know what I mean? Like anything could be like, oh, I'll make a bow and arrow out of da 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 da. I'll make a da 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 dum. That's like the best case scenario in my mind. But anyways, all this to say, they talked about there's this new thing where basically it's like not a Dremel, but it's almost like a kid buzzsaw basically, and it's like perfectly calibrated so that you can cut out pieces of cardboard.
Okay.
Which is like that is like a quantum leap to me. Like if I had that technology, because I was cutting up cardboard,
of course,
but I had to use like, they wouldn't let me use an X-Acto knife sometimes, or I'd have to use like a kitchen, whatever. You make do.
Yeah, you got a butter knife
in
the box.
If I had just like a like a garage full of just like little tools. You could like, this is how you cut styrofoam to not to scale. What do people say? To specification. That would have been like, I would not be sitting across from you today.
Because that was the problem. We couldn't get our projects within tolerances, and things wouldn't take off. And I would always do like the door. I would make a window flap on. You'd cut 3 sides of a cardboard or of a square into the cardboard, and then you would bend the other one.
Oh yeah.
And then you'd put a little handle in it, and so you could just like open close it. What a joy that was!
It felt so good.
It's magical.
Oh yeah.
You draw a picture that it like completed when you closed it. It was a good time back there.
You were a smarter kid than me.
Well, you know what I gave my kid was a box, and then a hammer, and then golf tees, and you can pound the tees into the box. Dude had a good 30 minutes of it. That's all we're trying to do is
kill
time.
30 minutes.
Yeah,
how do I kill 30 minutes?
Yeah,
I think you should teach. I don't know if you can teach this, but like, just I don't know. The ability to kill time is not even kill it, but like to, I don't know, kill it, skin it, and then wear it as a coat. That is like a subtle art.
Gets you in the cave.
Yes, this is all, to make it full circle. That's what I'm always trying to do, is how do I kill, what little game can I play for 2 hours that never existed and never will exist? You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like what kind of,
To be creative.
Yeah. I mean, what's in front of you? What do you got? It's, because, I mean, I feel like people walk into a room and they're like, there's nothing here. And it's like, well, there is. You just have to. Ugh, this is so cliche.
Do it.
I already hear myself saying, well,
Get it.
It's just, it's a function of, I mean, how do you teach someone to come up with their own little games? I feel like, honestly, when I'm doing stand-up, that's all I'm ever doing is how do I come up with a little, dee-dee-da-da-dee-dee-da-da-dee-dee. And then once that's done, I'm like, okay, well, let's try to do something else. Or maybe I'll revisit an old game that I played and see if I can play that a little bit better, a little bit better, a little bit better, a little bit better, and then I die. That's kind of, I don't know. I get a real kick out of things when it feels, pointless is not the word. I wish there was a more,
pure, but there's a purity to it. You're doing it for the sake of doing it. Goes back to that creative process. It does when you're playing like the best games, especially even sports, because all sports are arbitrary. Mm-hmm. The ones that we still play, like baseball, incredibly arbitrary sport. Mm-hmm. But we still play it. I think one of the reasons we play it is that it's the progression keeps working. So like a pitcher can at an age can throw at a speed that a batter can react to at that age, about like from like whatever 8 years old until adulthood. Like as hard as a kid can throw and they'll change the distance. They'll make changes to the rules.
Going back to that, there's a way to make it so that it's an even playing. There's knobs.
Yeah. But essentially, like you at 15, you can throw hard enough for a 15-year-old to react to it. That it would be unfair if a 25-year-old was pitching to that 15-year-old.
Correct.
But eventually, you essentially go together in skill level and what's feasible But it's arbitrary. The game is still silly and arbitrary. And so if you're sitting around and you're playing, there's a bucket in the corner and we're sitting there with popcorn kernels and who can bounce it off this thing into there. And it's just as arbitrary.
100%.
It's just, it's great. It's a great, just more fun thing.
Yeah, there's more resources. I think what's cool about, I mean, maybe this is what prevents me from understanding sports that well, but it's always really cool when like there's something you can take home. Like, okay, for instance, I went shooting the other day, for the first time in like.
Oh, to take a target home?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
like,
cool.
Exactly. Like you have this little like constellation. Like, there's like a thing. There's like a memento. You know what I mean?
A game ball.
A game ball. And I was just thinking, like, wouldn't it be cool if, I don't know, like if this seems like something you could probably do pretty simply, but like if you had little lights, right, on okay, here's what it is. I got it.
I'm ready.
So you have, oh god, this is gonna be as contrived as the spelling bee thing, but if you had like an infrared camera watching the I'm thinking of football, what is it called? Field, right? And
oh boy.
they've all got little lights. They've all got different infrared lights on, so you can't see them. You can't.
Okay.
They're not visible. But then at the end of the game, there's been a time lapse, right, of every person moving.
Okay.
And so you could see this huge, like, almost like these blobs, like of this zipped across that way and went this way, and then it kind of faded. And a lot of people were right here because there's a lot of body heat, not really over here. And so by the end of the game, you have like a little cool, I don't know, video of a thing, a dope thing.
I like it.
You know what I
And
mean?
you get a like a 2D representation or that kind of thing of
Exactly.
it, which is very cool. Yeah, I think people do. Well, they do that in sports with like they'll show you like the chart or the
True. Yeah, there's that
distribution of
visual
their
representation.
passes or shots or whatever. And then I think that's why people are obsessed with stats. 'Cause
True.
That's the take home thing.
Oh, you know what?
That's what
true.
They want.
You get like a nice little chart.
Yeah.
I remember there was a guy in my physics lab, like lab class,
Yeah.
who was really insistent on, because these were like really old instruments we were using, for better or for worse, and he was really insistent that he get home the like paper readout of some signal, because he thought like, oh, that's so cool, like you get like a physical.
Is this on an oscilloscope? What are we dealing with?
I think it was. Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Or maybe it was a magnometer. It was something.
Yeah.
But basically, like, you're looking for a boop,
Yeah.
a chirp or a signal or a thing dying off. And so that's, it's depositing and it's going do, and then, but it did look cool. Like the paper was cool. The graph lines were
his
cool.
finger was, folks, his finger was like coming in and out like a little, like an inchworm. And then, with the badoo-doo, it went up a sharp peak and then back down. Go ahead.
Well, but I remember thinking like, that is kind of cool. Like to have like a,
Yes.
like a memento of something. Because
Yes.
the process that we're looking at is very complicated and it's very technical. And that itself is beautiful. And that's happening inside of your head, right? You're looking at it and you're imagining it. But it's also cool to have like a souvenir.
A souvenir
Is the word.
Another French word, just like the painter Seurat. Was he French or did his name just sound French? Had to be.
Seurat? Sirrah?
Seurat.
So, that's definitely French then, if there's an AT and it's Seurat.
That's what I'm saying. Like souvenir.
Mm-hmm.
Souvenir comes from Napoleon taking things from other countries. I don't know. All right. This has been good.
Word.
Should we
Plug
anything? Like to
anything?
plug anything?
Oh, well, yes, actually, because I'll try to release this today. Thursdays, we're back at Bantha Tea Bar.
Who's with you now? Who's we?
Oh, gosh, who is we?
Is it a royal we?
It is a royal we at this point. We're still keeping the name. It's still Noggenvan.
Which I call Nag and Van.
Noggenvan, yes. This is,
And that's acceptable, or
it
is it
well, just don't say it when you're there, because we will hurt you.
Nog?
Noggenvan.
And even though there's always a literal van in every picture.
True, it is a little, I guess, Noggenvan. You know what? I kind of like that it splits people up that way. That's what I'm trying to do, is create factions.
Cool. Nog and Van every Thursday.
Every other Thursday.
Every other Thursday. Every's so hard to do.
Yeah.
Great space if you haven't been. It's the perfect setup for it. It felt like I was in Portland.
It is very Portlandy.
It has
very
like
DIY.
Yeah, it has a great DIY show feel.
Yeah.
The chairs are mismatched.
Yeah,
The
there's like
space-
weird tables.
Yeah, it's not like a perfectly symmetrical room. The sound system is good enough.
It's great.
The bar is tea, first of all, and in the back.
Mm-hmm.
The bathroom, people have to walk by you to get to the bathroom.
There's two bathrooms. There's one next to the performance space and one in the front.
Oh, yeah,
so
yeah,
you
yeah.
can. It's actually, the more you look at it, it's a great space. Bantha Tea Bar. Bantha Tea Bar in Friendship.
Bantha Tea Bar.
Bantha, the noggin,
Noggenvad.
the bong, the banana, the the banana.
It's a great show. It's a great show, and they run it well, whoever they is at this point.
It's
But
me and my
Zivan.
hive mind.
And I always love a banter host set between two people, and I love as a person who runs a show, I love the idea of like, hey, we're both going to do the host, but this week one of us is going to do 5 minutes.
Right.
Because I never do that. Anyhow, Great show. Go out to it.
Right.
Check. Where can we check for tickets, Zivan?
Well, you can follow us at Nognvan on Instagram. That's Nagnvan. Nognvan.
Love it.
What about you, Chris?
We're working on the special. We're editing.
Who's we?
Myself, and then all the helpers, the people involved. Mike, Loose Cannon.
Oh yeah.
DiGuglielmo.
Mm-hmm.
I say it fast, so I don't have to stand on my pronunciation.
Yeah.
And this has just been a show of how we say words. And Alyssa's been a big part of it.
Nice.
We've got it's down to 56 minutes.
Oh wow.
And
down two.
Yeah, it was bulky, and I want it. Would you sit through 56 minutes of stand-up comedy on a TV screen?
Oh,
No, I wouldn't. I don't.
No.
And nor should you, the audience. So I want to get it to 40, which
that's ideal.
is possible that someone could watch it in one sitting, but more than likely, even at 40, people are like, can I just do this while I wash the dishes? And I don't want that. There's a lot of visual in this one. I'm not a great visual performer. I mean, I have quite a face, but this I've made it a very visual show, and so there's like extra elements beyond. I don't want to ruin anything.
I'm excited. The way you're putting it, it feels very.
There could be some fun to it, and so tightening it up, shortening it, cutting bits, all of that. So it should release within a month.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah,
that's very good. Where will it be releasing on?
We'll be on iTunes.
Word. We'll
be on Spotify. We'll be on YouTube for the video. For the video on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I'm going to do any. Maybe we'll do like a preview, but I don't think I want to do any like pay version for the video. Even though the video is more than the audio, I think the audio formats are like built on pay, and the video formats are more built on free. Is this what I'm feeling when you're at our level? Let's put it that way.
Fair enough.
Because I'm not selling it to a subscription service or a site, because it's just gonna get. There's no. First of all, not like Netflix is knocking on my door, and then secondly, if I
pounding,
they are bringing in the battering ram, but because you could, even at any level, you could put it on Amazon Prime and sell the video, or you know what I mean. So I'm not doing that. So it's gonna be free on video, but you can buy the audio for fun. We'll see.
Cool.
Coming up.
Well, all right. No, I'm looking forward to that, and I'm sure our listeners are as well. Okay. Well, this has been the Gifted program with Zivan Vasquez.
Chris Nakis. Take that thinking cap off.
Yep.
Rub your temples. That is my issue with chess.
Yep. Then go back to eating rocks. Good night. All right.
Flawless.
Damn, I wish we had been recording.